Hey girl, you got a minute? Welcome to Girl Go In, the podcast, where faith, community, celebration collide. Each episode is geared to helping the next girl know that she too can overcome anything and that you can triumph after trauma. Let's dive right into this week's episode. Hey girl, you got a minute? It's episode 4. Y'all, can you believe that we are really at episode 4? This has been an amazing journey with my sisterhood, and I am so proud of us. I told you before, this is a win for all of us. This week's episode is Girl, Go After It. Last week, we simply talked about daring to try again, all the reasons why we shouldn't try again, and all the reasons why we should try again. And if you've listened already, you know there are more reasons to try again than there were reasons to stop and stay stagnant. All right? So let's dive into this week's episode because, girl, you got to go after it. This week, I wanted to remind you of your why. I wanted you to remind yourself of your why. And perhaps you may not know your why. I don't know your why because I don't personally know you, but I know where you can find it. And as always, I am going to take you back to the source of it all, God. His word is true. His word doesn't lie. His conversations with you are not a joke. His conversations are so real. And he's going to reveal to you your why. I often tell people when you are looking for purpose, when you are in pursuit of purpose, when you're in pursuit of going after something, would you do it for free? And if that answer is yes, then 9 times out of 10, that's where you belong and where you should be. If that answer is no, then girl, run that thing back and find where you should really be. For me, I would speak all day long, absolutely for free. For real. I've been running my mouth since 8 months saying full sentences as a little girl. So trust me, running my mouth comes absolutely easy. So I wanted to tell you to go after it, but I wanted to give you strategies to go after it. I know perhaps that you are uncertain about the future. Who isn't? We don't know what's going to happen. Right now, gas prices are, whew, okay? And money is just not the same for everybody right now. But I want you to know that God has you. He realizes where you are, and to stop giving him all the reasons why you can't go after it. Stop giving him all the reasons why you can't start the business, why you can't start that book, why you can't apply for that new job, why you can't try to date again. Stop giving him all the reasons why. Not. Because I am always certain that God is going to give you all the more reasons why you can try again and you can go after it. I remember when my friends did a mild intervention, right? It was my son's, let's say, I think it was birthday number 3. It's dinosaur party in our basement. Had it decorated so nice, looking like a real safari. If you didn't know, birthdays are like a huge thing. The kid birthday things is always on point, okay? And my friends literally said to me, okay, now, what is Raven gonna do? Like, I was still legally married. My friends knew, as well as I knew, that it wasn't gonna go anywhere, that, things were pretty much done. And, they knew that at the time my husband was not in my son's or our life. And they were just like, okay, what is Raven going to do? Raven has been on speaking engagements. Raven has started this sisterhood at one point. It was a different name. Raven has done all these great things with blogs and websites and events. But where are you? Like, where are you? Where are you going? And around that time, my son's birthday is in September. Around that time, it was around the same time that a friend of mine, told me about doing hair. And crazy enough how that thing kind of flowed. Now that I look back and, look and see that, wow, God really is strategic in all the things that he does, and he does all things well. My closest friends sat down and had an intervention, and it just was like, you have so much in store, like your voice and your story and your anointing, and you're just sitting here and yeah, you're being a great mom. You are being a great caregiver. You're doing all these great things, but what are you doing for the earth? Like, what are you doing that is connected to your purpose? Women are hurting because you won't get back up again. And at that time, that thing went in one ear and right on out the other. this girl was not ready to go after it. I was so afraid of sharing my story. I was so embarrassed. Like, who wants to share that they have been cheated on more than one time, that they have been abandoned, that they have been just treated like crap publicly and privately? This individual was a different person to me, but publicly it was as if I didn't exist. And, how do you share that? And how do you say that and not feel any guilt or shame about it and embarrassment? Like, how do I say that? And I guess all these years later, God is saying, you use your platform. You use your platform that I've given you. Don't worry about what they're going to say or how they're talking about you. I give you more favor when your enemies talk about you. Pause. I don't know if you've heard the new Kirk Franklin song with Maverick City, Bless Me. My kid and I absolutely love it. And it's just amazing, the song. First of all, Kirk Franklin is a musical genius, okay? And the song just says, bless me, God, indeed, so everyone around me can have everything they need. It also says, bless me, God, indeed, so the folks that have conversations about me can give me more favor. And the Bible tells us that He'll make our enemies our footstools, and all them words sound real cute, but it didn't feed my soul enough to make me want to go after purpose and pursue purpose again. It didn't. I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, it wasn't until I opened K Curl Studios a month later, without even realizing that's what I was gonna do when they had that intervention with me. I didn't realize all the women I would meet, all the lives I would pour into, all the conversations, all the secrets that I hold. I didn't realize that God was literally um, opening me up again. God was literally slowly, pulling that band-aid off. Slowly. Now, mind you, I am a huge advocate for therapy. I am a huge advocate for seeking wise counsel. I've always been that way. I started going to therapy, I think I was about 18. But seeking wise counsel, anybody close to me will tell you that Raven has no problem with seeking advice from a wise counsel. That's always been me. And that's always going to be me. And it was at a place where, God, I guess with K Curl Studio, not I guess, I know now for certain that it was a God thing, that God was literally saying, okay, she's seeking therapy. She's pouring back into other women. And it's not from a place of hurt. It's from a place of healing. It's from a place that is sincere. And I just wanted those women to know that, okay, you got a bald spot, but I bet you I can grow it back. I don't care what a stylist told you. I don't care. I bet you I'll grow your bald spot back. I bet you I curl your hair better than most people. I bet you I straighten it. I bet you it stayed straight for a while. People came to me, they were natural, and a lot of people kind of didn't know how to straighten natural hair. Um, you all can thank God, and you all can thank my mother for that. My hair is naturally curly and really, really soft. And in third grade, I told my mother that I was tired of them pigtails and ponytails and them barrettes and stuff. Like, girl, please. I want my hair straightened. I want my hair straight. And a lot of girls laughed at me because my grandmother let me get a relaxer in sixth grade. Yeah, it was like sixth grade, I believe, the first relaxer. But throughout the years, of course, my mother still kind of made it work. But I was about fourth grade. My mother bought me a pair of flat irons, a blow dryer, some nice shampoo from Sally's, a few rat tail combs from the beauty supply, and my mama sewed that first seed into me. She just was like, I'm not dealing with all that hair, but here you go, And I always loved doing hair. I think around that time is when I started doing those twists on the front porch, okay, or in the basement. It depends on. And I used to do nails and all that good stuff. I always had a passion for helping other people feel good about themselves. I was never into makeup. My cousin Dralicia was a makeup person, okay, and it's just amazing to see her evolution. She's doing multiple celebrities and all that good stuff, and I'm proud of her. But our family sowed seeds into us, And, Jalissa would be going to Walgreens to get several different things. And for me, I was always in somebody's hair. Come on, let me play in your hair. Let me do your hair. And I grew up with family members who were into beauty and had their salons and were stylists and things like that, or family friends that we considered, blood. But, I guess back then I always knew, like, how people say, did you know you were going to do this? I always knew. My godmother, Kristen, always told me that, I was going to be a preacher. I was going to be a teacher. And I was going to be all these great things. So I had people around me that kind of molded where I should have been. But Raven had to find that for Raven. People can tell you how great you are. People can love on you and can share things to you, about you and what they see and prophesy all this good stuff. But until you see it, you're never going to be able to fully embrace it. I couldn't see the Raven today 4 years ago. I couldn't. I couldn't see how God was going to use, and I grew up in church. Let's add that, because I know you're probably thinking, but you grew up in church and you have these great people around you. Trauma, baby. Trauma will lead you to feel as though you are nothing. Y'all got to know, and man, my felt marriage, and throughout my marriage, I felt so miserable. I dummied myself down so this individual can look like they're on their stuff and they're doing good. When all along, I was the one pushing. I was the one helping. I was the one, pouring. I was the one building these things and telling you what to call these things and helping you look good and working on your stuff in the background. All along, I dummied myself down more and more and more. I hid myself more and more and more. And I dived myself into motherhood, like, completely. Like, I was nothing but a wife and a mother. And don't ask me to be anything else. All I wanted to do was be a wife and a mother. Because so many around me, all they were was just, a girlfriend or a baby mama. And I wanted to be different than that. I didn't want to do anything else that would take me away from my child. Like, to this day, there's not a 9 to 5 I would go back to. Like, there's not a boss that I would go after. I pray more and more and more that God continues to show me the way, that God continues to have me go after the things that he wants me to go after, to build my brand, to build my legacy, because it's not just about my son. It's about my grandchildren. I wasn't born into a trust fund, and neither was my son. But I pray every day that my grandchildren are born into trust funds, that my grandchildren will be trust fund kids. And I'm crazy enough to believe that one day my son could be a trust fund kid, right? And I'm saying this to say that I didn't have all the pieces in order. I didn't have all the ducks in a row, but I dared to go after it. I dared to try again. And I want you to go after it. Whatever your it is, I don't know, but I know there's something that's stirring on in the inside of you. I know there's something that God is literally pushing you and nudging you to do. All of this stuff I'm talking about, God was already laying foundations. God was already making ways. God was already putting the pieces here and there, and I couldn't see it. In the midst of my trauma, all I saw was defeat. All I saw was I was never going to get back in position. I was never going to be able to be the Raven, the happy Raven that didn't take no for an answer, the Raven that went after it, the Raven that got things done. I have been able to experience so many amazing things in my life simply because I dared to go after it. And trauma had never happened. I didn't know, I had minor childhood things, dealing with my mom, and, mothers and daughters don't always get along. My mother was young. She had me super, super young. So we kind of grew up together. That was my big sister, and we've had our issues, and God is still, fixing that relationship and making things better for us. But I didn't have anything real to say, like, I went through and all my life was hard, and I didn't have that. So it wasn't until I was an adult that I decided to go after something, and it didn't work. And my marriage left me to feel like everything I tried would fail after that, because here is this great thing I believed in so, so well, and I believed it was going to work, and we're best friends and all this good stuff, and it fails. And your boy plays me, things get crazy, right? And I'm left to feel empty. I'm left to feel broken. I'm left with the pieces. And I'm going to therapy And I mean, yeah, I'm getting poured into, but I'm still coming home and I'm feeling so ashamed and so embarrassed that I just didn't dare to try again for a very long time. I didn't dare to go after it. And what was so important for me, like I said, I got to a place where I just didn't want to be stuck no more. I just didn't want to watch other people win and I was still at the crib. I was watching TV or I was depressed and I was scrolling through IG. And these are people who started way after me. And I'm like, well, how did you get there? And you know, and if you can sit here and say and listen to this and say, I ain't been there, then okay, that's on you, girl. I've been there. I've been there watching others prosper. And I felt as though I was dying inside. I felt as though, where is God? And where is God? And there for a moment, I turned my back on God. I was just like, you know what? You let all these things happen to me. You literally let this man play me, make a fool out of me. You literally let these women go on social media and make it seem as though I took something and it was so different than what this other individual had. You literally let me be humiliated time after time after time again. And you're supposed to be God. You're supposed to be my father that looks out for me, right? And you allowed all of these things to happen. How dare I trust again? How dare I try again? How dare I do anything for you again? Because if this is your will for my life, I don't want no parts of it. And I meant that at that time because I was so, so hurt. I couldn't see the God that restores all things. I couldn't see the God that made a way. I couldn't see the God that was going to take my ashes and make it beautiful. I couldn't see the God that was literally going to take my mess and make it to a message. I couldn't see any of that. I couldn't. I just couldn't. I really didn't know how I would get out of my own way. I didn't know, girl. Girl, I did not know how I would go after it. I didn't. I didn't. But I one day decided that I just didn't want to be that broken anymore. I didn't want to be that bitter anymore. I didn't want to be that stuck anymore. I didn't want to be that uncertain anymore. So I had to surrender on my knees. I had to repent and I had to ask God to, one, forgive me. And I had to ask myself to forgive myself for the things that I allowed to happen. Because see, we blame all these things on other people, right? But oftentimes we've allowed these things to continue. I allowed my marriage to last longer than it should have because I was going off of how I was raised. I didn't have a biblical reason then to leave. You know, I allowed these things. So I had to ask God to forgive me for, one, making a fool out of him and being upset with him and walking away from him. For two, for just stepping out of his will and thinking that his will wasn't good enough for me. I had to get out of my own way. I had to get certain about one thing, and that one thing was that I wanted better. My son deserved better. My son deserved a whole mom. And though he never saw things, he was too young. He saw me happy. And no matter how my days were, when my kid got home from school, it didn't matter. My kid deserved a whole mom. My mom was young, and she didn't have the resources and the mindset to, you know, come into a different mind when her kids were home. Whatever my mother was going through, we was all going to feel it, okay? And my mother battled with that. And that's just something I didn't want to do, lock myself in a room. And my mother would play Richard Smallwood all day long, okay? I knew when she was going through because Angels was her song. And, you know, back then it was embarrassing. But now as a woman, I'm like, man, my mother was going through and she needed help. And I just didn't want to be that mother that let her child know everything she was going through. And my child, I suffered because my mother was going through. Malachi didn't deserve it and he doesn't deserve it. And he'll never have to experience it because I work hard. I do the work. I do the necessary work. I do the necessary work so much, y'all. You just don't know. I remind myself daily that I am a new creature, that I'm dying to myself. And God, this is your world. I'm just in it. Show me which way to go. Show me what I'm doing today. Show me what I'm removing from my life today. Show me where I'm going. Show me where I'm starting. Show me what you need from me. What is it that I need to walk away from? What is it that I need to start doing? Because honestly, I don't want to be out of God's will no more. I don't want God's permissive will. I want his promised will. I want whatever God wants for me. And I just know that if people are out here winning and they don't even serve God, there's no way that my life can't match theirs or even better because of the God that I serve. I just had to dare to try again. I just had to go after it. I just had to realize that greater is he that is in me that is than he that is in the world, and that God got me, that this thing has no choice but to work. I say it all the time that this Girl Go Win movement, the Raven K brand, all that good stuff that God is doing for me in this heavy win year, it has no choice but to work. I have no choice but to come out on top. I ain't going back, and I mean I ain't going back to that place I used to be. I don't want to be bitter no more. I don't want to be in a dark place no more. I don't want to be broken no more. I don't want to be hurt anymore. I don't want to be stuck, uncertain, and stagnant anymore. So I went ahead and I said, if I'm going to try this again, I'm going to put my all into it. All my savings, all my resources, all that I have. And I don't care who's for me because I serve a God that is more than for me. I don't care who's against me because I got way more people that's for me. If you with me, you with me. And if you gone, go ahead and fall off so I can make room for more. Because the old me would be like, no new this, no new that. I want everybody that God has for me. I want all the people that God is going to connect with me. I want all the people that God is going to use to bring me into great rooms. I want it all. So I'm not holding anything back. I have no reservations. I am fretful sometimes. I am fearful sometimes. I'm nervous sometimes. But something inside of me every day gets up and says, God, this is your world. I'm in it. This is your will. I follow it. Lead me. I will go because I don't want to ever be that person anymore. So I'm telling you, girl, you got to go after it. The job, the new position, the school, the going back to school, starting the school, whatever your it is, going into these dating worlds and getting back out there again, trying for that kid again. I know what infertility looks like. Let's just say that I was told I would never have a kid. We got on fertility medicine and, let's just say your girl stopped taking it. Okay, women, read between the lines. And Malachi is here, and he'll be 7 years old this summer, will fall, and I am so excited. So every time the enemy says no, God says yes. Okay, and I always tell people, I have all the things they said that I have. I don't claim that. So if they say you can't, trust me, you can. God has the very last say so. Because if we're up to the doctors, my son would not be here. Show you how things come full circle. My gynecologist, I didn't even know, would later be one of my former teachers, my third grade teacher's daughter-in-law. So it shows you how, things are full circle. And God already knew all of this years ago, that it was going to take a doctor to believe that I can have a child and carry a child on my own. And that person ended up being my third grade teacher, Miss Hoover. Garvey women, if you're listening, y'all know Miss Hoover. Oh my God. Oh my God. Love her, love her, love her. And it would be her daughter-in-law years later. God is just so humorous to me, right? So here it is. My kid is almost 7 years old, and I was able to carry my child. Did it come without some pains and it was a lot, okay? But I say that to say I dared to go after it. Even then, I dared to go after it. I dared to go after it. When they talked about me and my ministry a long time ago, uh, when they did that, I didn't want to have another brunch, another meetup, another this, another that, because of what they said. But I've got to a place in my life, it took a while, and I'm almost 32, that I don't need another man's approval. If God is for me, I don't care who's against me. If God is telling me to go after that thing, I'm going. If you say go, I'm going. If you say do it, I'm doing it. And I want you, and I'm challenging you to get to a place when nobody else's voice matters but the voice of God. When nobody else's words, not your grandmama's, not your mama's, not whoever. Okay, and that's you. I'm still going to go after what God told me to do. So get to that place. Challenge yourself this week to go after whatever that it is. You got this, girl. I'm holding you up. I'm praying for the women that are going to listen to this, that is going to say, I am going after it because I watched Raven K go after it. That girl has told us a lot of her business, and I know that takes a lot of guts to do that and courage. But I watched her go after it. I am watching her share all of the things she's gone after and how she's pursuing it and how she's letting God lead her. I don't want you to be me. I want you to be better than me. I want you to know that you have someone praying for you and pushing you. Remember that you got this. Stop trying to come all the way correct to God because He already sees you as the mess that you are. And that's okay. Everybody goes to their messy stage. That's okay. Know that you can come out as pure gold, that God has everything you need to build yourself back up again. God has all the resources lined up for you. All He's waiting for you is to one, dare to try again. Two, go after it. Go after your it. So I've enjoyed my time with you guys. Again, if you've enjoyed this message, this podcast, go ahead and let me know. Make sure you're subscribed, leave a review, give us those stars on all the platforms that you've been listening to us on. If you want to connect with us, we have a community on Facebook. It's private, Girl Go Win Community. If you want weekly encouragement, text messages, go ahead and text 55498, and the keyword is Go Win. If you want to purchase any Girl Go In merchandise, if you want to join and be a part of our newsletter that's gearing up to start in July, go ahead and head over to www.girlgowin.com. I want to connect with you. I want to know your story. I want to know more about you. I want to know my sisters. Let's connect. Until next week. Bye.